Okay, so by now you have read another section of my book and have been instructed to head on over to this video as it kind of recaps a portion of the book that you are currently tuned into. Or maybe you have stumbled across this segment as you was browsing YouTube and would like to read portions of my book which will lead you up to this video. Then please see the link in the comments section to grab your copy of the book so that you're able to build the connection that we have going with these series. Okay, so this video is pretty much an encouragement video from the previous section. Now, by now, you kind of have an idea of who I am, what took place, what the purpose of the book is centered around. So now I just want to pause from reading and give you a little bit of encouragement to go along with that previous section that you read. For starters, as you can recall, the discussion that I mentioned and what took place and what happened. And you're probably wondering, how am I feeling? How did this affect me? Or how am I dealing with it? Well, here's my response. For starters, everything, everything is a part of God's plan and his perfect will. And I start and end each day and task with him. Oh, please know that God makes it all possible. And when something isn't a part of his perfect will, oh, he will subtract to add and divide to multiply. What do I mean by this? I mean that he already knows if it's too much for us, if he needs to shift some things, if he needs to remove some things, or if he needs to add some things, if he needs to split some things and divide some things up. He would never put no more on us than we can bear. He knows what is meant to help us and what is sent to harm us. So, now that you have those key tips, let me talk a little bit about myself. Now, when I was unexpectedly laid off from my 9 to 5 job, as you will see and have read so far from my book, it became clear that God was pushing me to bloom in other areas. Now, when it first took place, when I was first hit with the news and had to just take it all in without a reaction and just remain humble, it was a little different. But it's just like a flower is what kept coming to mind. And what I mean by that, he pushes us to bloom in other areas. You know, I don't have a green thumb as far as planting things, but I do know a little bit about how to maintain and keep up a plant or flower, And I say that to say this. I hear a lot of people saying, if the flower starts to go bad or you notice some difficulty with it, you have to do what they call pruning it. Okay? And pruning is when you with the flower you have to it's a specific way you have to cut and carve out certain parts of it, the bad part, but you have to do it a certain way so that when it does reproduce or when it does grow, the replacement piece, it will be decent and in order. And it's my understanding that you have to catch it at a right time. You can't just go chopping it off, or you can't just wait until it's too late and try to save it. You got to get it at the right time. So when you're pruning those parts that aren't stable, you have to be careful. You have to be mindful because you want it to be able to repurpose um, and save what you can so that when it does repurpose, it will have a meaningful growth. And I apply this to my situation because although I didn't quite understand it, God knew exactly what he was doing because there were times where this position or this opportunity I may have been putting it ahead of the home, the work, the business, the personal, the ministry, all these things. Yes, I would get things done because I had that go-getter um mindset, and I had my task scheduler, and I had my listing, and I had all of these things in place to get this stuff done while wearing multiple hats. But the focal point wasn't there because I was still giving my energy somewhere else, and I wasn't really being able to focus on that those main parts that God wanted me to focus on. So overall, I encourage everyone, if at any times you're feeling overwhelmed from tackling so many duties, so many tasks, just know that God won't put any more on you than you can bear, but you have to be wise about it. You have to understand that it is a part of his process, and he will, see you through it, but you have to keep in mind, and maybe take some time to just reevaluate what it is and what you're giving your energy to, and what you're pouring into and allowing to pour into you, because at the drop of a dime, all of that you're giving and pouring could be gone, or it could just end, unexpectedly. So you have to really be careful. Understand that it's part of the process. And God would do one of two things. He would either clear the path and of anything that may be blocking the vision, stopping you from keeping your mind on him, or stopping you from doing what it is that he has purposed and called you to do. Or he would give you the strength to push through the path, because there is purpose behind the pain. So I encourage you, keep focused. If he pulls some things from you, you may not understand it, and it's not meant for you to understand it, but just accept it. And when I accepted it, when I knew that, okay, this is really happening in the middle of a pandemic, when I accepted it and came to peace with it, the joy that I felt, and what's on the other side. I mean, thankfully we didn't miss a beat. Finances increase, business increase, connections increase, ministry increase and enhance, partnerships, friendships, everything that I can think of that I was pulling and limiting my time to. All I saw was an increase, and everything went up, and it's continuously going up. So that lets me know that what God, he had to pull me out of that zone. Didn't know how he was going to do it. The way it happened that way, and it was like, wow, really? But it happened, and I'm glad that it happened, because it would if it didn't happen, I would never be at the point where I am right now telling this story. So again, thank you for tuning in. Again, if you have not received the book and you're wondering what I'm talking about in this video, please see the comments below so that you can grab your copy, because it's going to all make sense once you have the book in front of you, because this video is just a portion of some areas and topics and chapters that we discuss in the book, and vice versa. If you already have the book, thank you so much for getting it, and I hope this video helped enhance your information a little bit more. And as we close out, I want you to go ahead back to the book and finish up, because there are going to be some more strategic tips and strategies and information that I discuss a little further on. Again, thank you so much, and just know that everything happens for a reason. Just accept it. Just let God do his work, so that you can go ahead and bloom and flourish in the area that he wants you to bloom in. Okay, so by now you have read another section of my book and have been instructed to head on over to this video as it kind of recaps a portion of the book that you are currently tuned into. Or maybe you have stumbled across this segment as you was browsing YouTube and would like to read portions of my book which would lead you up to this video. Then please see